Good morning, former President of the Republic of Indonesia, Dr. Susilo Bambang Yudhoyono, Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the inaugural Singapore Forum. This year is Singapore's 50th anniversary of nationhood. This gives additional meaning to the forum. Mr. Rajaratnam, one of Singapore's first-generation leaders with whom I had the privilege of working, was a firm believer in regional cooperation. He belonged to the first generation of Asian nationalists who shook off colonial rule. But he was also an internationalist who sought cooperation with all countries around the world. His guiding principle was to befriend all who sincerely sought to befriend us. This is a timely occasion to reflect on the relationships we have forged with our neighbors and with the international community. We hope that this forum can serve as a platform for our friends and partners to engage one another and work towards development, peace, and stability. 2015 is also the year when ASEAN will conclude one phase of its journey towards an ASEAN economic community. In 2003, ASEAN leaders declared the goal of regional economic integration. This was born from the recognition that the power dynamics across Asia would change as China and India rise to join Japan in the ranks of top Asian economies. Some smaller countries face the challenge of how to tap these large markets without becoming beholden to them and while serving their own national interests. A regional ASEAN economic bloc will likely improve the balance. ASEAN countries must thus seek deeper integration and closer cooperation with one another. ASEAN has already picked the low-lying fruits. It will henceforth have to take more difficult decisions under more complex circumstances. The theme of this year's Singapore Forum is Asia and the World, New Growth, New Strategies. Asia has already grown steadily over the past few decades. This has been driven by two factors. The first is strong economic growth, which creates a powerful incentive to define the relationship between countries in positive terms. The second is stability in the relationships of countries in the region and in relationships between the major powers with interests in our region. The two factors are interconnected. At the core of this nexus between stability and growth is the very existence of ASEAN as a mechanism for ensuring order and civility in a region where neither is to be taken for granted. Since the Vietnam War, there have been no major wars or conflicts in Asia. Regional stability has allowed leaders in Asia to focus on economic development. As a result, Asia as a region is today emerging as a key engine of growth for global economy. The rise of Asia is beneficial to the rest of the world as well. The global economic outlook for 2015 is uncertain. Asia can no longer count on demand from developed economies to support growth. The pace of growth is also uneven across countries. The strong growth in the US is offset by the slowdown in the Eurozone and China. The effects from the consolidation of China's economy as it reforms and rebalances its system continue to ripple through the rest of the world, including ASEAN. At the same time, China's re-emergence as a major power has required adjustments in political and strategic relationships. The discussion surrounding the creation of the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank is an example. All the major powers are now seeking a new equilibrium in their relationships with each other and with other countries in the region. The search for a new modus vivendi between the US and China is the most crucial of these adjustments. As a global power, the US will continue to have a major role in contributing to a stable world order. Sino-Japanese, Japanese-Korean, and Sino-Indian relations will also have a significant impact on our region. 4 of the top world's 5 economies, the US, China, India, and Japan, are in the Asia-Pacific. If Prime Minister Modi's reforms succeed, India will also be a large engine for growth. India, together with the Republic of Indonesia, Republic of Korea, and Australia, are already among the G20 countries' economies. Asia is by no means homogeneous. There have been historical differences between countries and occasional friction. Territorial disputes and the rise of nationalism complicate the situation. While each country is sovereign, we must collectively and carefully nurture the peace and stability that has enabled the ascendance of Asia. To achieve the immense promise our region holds, the major powers should look forward rather than backwards to build constructive relationships and forge predictable and cooperative patterns of behavior as exists within ASEAN. All these changes are occurring at a time when decades of growth and the socio-economic political transformations that these decades of growth have catalyzed are compelling us to relook at the ways we organize ourselves internally. Each in its own way, all the major economies, ASEAN economies, Asian economies, are searching for new models to sustain growth over the longer term. Geopolitical uncertainties and technology add to the challenges. How well these countries cope with these challenges and find solutions to them will determine whether they will continue to prosper or stagnate. Against this backdrop, what would Asia's growth trajectory look like? What new models of growth are necessary for Asia? What does Asian regionalism mean for the region and for the world? What role will technology advancements play in reshaping Asia? The 3 plenary sessions today will discuss these issues, among others, and focus on the strategies, policies, and approaches to deepen cooperation and integration for sustainable growth and development. The first plenary session will look at the next phase of Asia's development. The second session will discuss the various economic architectures that have been created to deepen trade, connectivity, and economic integration. The last session of the day will look at the transformative power of technology. We have an interesting day ahead of us with preeminent speakers on all 3 panels and very distinguished guests. I hope all of you will participate actively and fully in the discussion. Our first speaker of the day, Dr. Susilo Bambang Yudhoyono, needs no introduction. He has been a long and distinguished career. He has had a long and distinguished career in the military and in politics. The many contributions that he has made in his own country to ASEAN and East Asia and to the wider international community are well known and speak for themselves. I'm deeply honored now to invite Dr. Susilo Bambang Yudhoyono, 6th President of the Republic of Indonesia, to deliver the keynote address. Your Excellency, please. Thank you very much.